Hello, and welcome to English for Everyone, where we practice real-life American English. Today we're going to learn to avoid some common mistakes in pronunciation. So let's get started. First, this is not correct.
And wool detergent for delicate clothes.
Use wool detergent for delicate clothes. Well, if you want to sound American, don't say clothes. Say clothes. We don't use the TH sound. Just close like close the door. Close. Same pronunciation. But the real problem is delicate. You cannot say delicate. It's pronounced delicate, delicate. The last syllable is a short sound. Delicate. Because delicate is an adjective. It's not a verb. That's why we pronounce it like that. Delicate clothes. And I've never heard of wool detergent. Use wool detergent for delicate clothes? I've never heard of this. What about you? Do you use wool detergent for delicate clothes? Tell me in the comments. Let me know. This is also not correct.
Colors are separate and you can use cold water.
Separate? That's the verb. The verb is separate. But this is the adjective, so we pronounce it differently. We pronounce it separate. So it's not 3 syllables, separate. It's 2 syllables, separate. And the last vowel is short. Not separate, but separate. This is the adjective. Colors are separate. So that's right. We have 2 words that look the same but have different pronunciations. The verb is separate and the adjective is separate. But don't worry, there's a rule here. So keep watching for a complete explanation of why we pronounce these words like this, and to practice with more useful vocabulary. Today we're going to practice with some very important and very tricky words. They look the same, they're spelled the same, but they're pronounced differently. When they're a verb, they're pronounced one way, and when they're not a verb, they're pronounced differently. Let's take a closer look. Our first example, separate. We pronounce A-T-E with a long A sound, ate, separate. When it's a verb, we pronounce it separate. Example, I need to separate my laundry. And the reason we pronounce it ate in the verb separate is because that syllable is stressed. Separate. 3 syllables, we stress the first, separate. We stress the third, so we pronounce the long A sound, separate. When it's not a verb, we pronounce it separate. Separate with the it sound. Because when you say separate, the stress is on the first syllable only, and that syllable ate is not stressed. So we change the pronunciation to it. Separate. Separate is not a verb. Separate is an adjective, a description. Separate rooms. We stayed in separate rooms at the hotel. 2 different rooms, separate rooms. Let's practice. Do you separate the clothes when you do the laundry?
Yes, I separate the clothes when I do the laundry.
Do you separate the clothes when you do the laundry? Very good. Are they staying in separate rooms?
Yes, they're staying in separate rooms.
Are they staying in separate rooms? Very good. Our next example is estimate. Estimate is the pronunciation when it's a verb. Example, I need to estimate the cost of the job. With the long A, estimate. But if it's not a verb, estimate. I need to get an estimate for the job. An estimate, like a quote. An estimate is a noun. It's not a verb. It's a thing. It's a piece of paper with the price on it. Estimate, with the short sound. Estimate, I need to get an estimate for the job. I'll call that company. They give free estimates. Free estimates. Let's practice. Does she need to estimate the cost of the job?
Yes, she needs to estimate the cost of the job.
Does she need to estimate the cost of the job? Very good. Does the company give free estimates?
Yes, the company gives free estimates.
Does the company give free estimates? Very good. Next example is associate. Associate is a verb. If I talk to people and I have a relationship with people, then I associate with those people. I don't associate with criminals. I only associate with people I know. Again, I don't associate with criminals. I don't have a relationship with them. That's a verb, associate. Now, what if it's not a verb? Associate. It, making that short sound at the end, it. Associate. Associate is not a verb. An associate is a person that works with a company. If the person works with a company, they are an associate. Example, the associates are having a meeting. The associates are having a meeting in the meeting room. Example, she's an associate and he is an associate. So together, they are associates. The associates are having a meeting. Let's practice. Do you associate with criminals?
No, I don't associate with criminals.
Do you associate with criminals? That's good. Is she an associate?
Yes, she's an associate.
Is he an associate too?
Yes, he's an associate too.
Is she an associate? Is he an associate too? Very good. Example, graduate. Graduate is a verb, making the long A sound. Graduate. Graduate. They will graduate in spring. They will graduate from high school in May. The verb. What if it's not a verb? Graduate. Graduate is not a verb. Graduate is a person. He is a high school graduate. She is a college graduate. One person who graduated is a graduate. So they are high school graduates. Or maybe they are college graduates. Let's practice. Are they going to graduate in May or June?
They're gonna graduate in May.
Are they going to graduate in May or June? Very good. Are they both college graduates?
Yes, they're both college graduates.
Are they both college graduates? Very good. Example, laminate. Laminate is a verb. To cover with plastic is laminate. My driver's license is laminated. They laminate your driver's license. Laminate is a verb with a long A sound. Laminate. But what if it's not a verb? Laminate. We make the short it sound. Laminate. Laminate is not a verb. It's an adjective. It describes what kind of flooring you have. What kind of floor? I have laminate flooring in my kitchen. I have laminate flooring in my kitchen. Laminate flooring. It's an adjective, so we use the short S sound. Laminate. Let's practice with laminate. Did they laminate your driver's license?
Yes, they laminated my driver's license.
Did they laminate her driver's license? Very good. Is he installing laminate flooring?
Yes, he's installing laminate flooring.
Is he installing laminate flooring? Very good. Next example is delegate. Delegate is a verb. We use the long A. Delegate. The boss needs to delegate authority. He needs to tell different people what to do. He needs to give jobs to different people. He delegates authority. It's a verb, so we use the long A. He delegates authority. A good manager knows how to delegate authority. This example is moderate. Moderate is a verb. When you watch a debate, you have the two people and you have the person in the middle. The person in the middle is a moderator. And the action, the verb, is moderate. So she is the moderator of the debate. She is the moderator, so she moderates the debate. The verb is moderate. Now we see the same word, but this time it's not a verb. Moderate, with the short sound. Moderate. Moderate means in the middle. Not severe, not too much, not too high, not too low. In the middle. But it's not a verb, it's an adjective. So, he's having pain, but not too much pain, not too little pain. In the middle, he's having moderate pain. Let's practice. Is she going to moderate the debate?
Yes, she's gonna moderate the debate.
Is she going to moderate the debate? Very good. Is he having moderate pain or severe pain?
He's having moderate pain.
Is he having moderate pain or severe pain? Very good. Today we're looking at the pronunciation of the word elaborate. Or is it elaborate? Let's take a closer look. We pronounce the word elaborate with the long A sound when it's a verb. The pronunciation, elaborate. Elaborate. The stress is on the second syllable. Elaborate. B-O-R is pronounced burr, not bore, elabor, but burr, elabor, elaborate. Elaborate is the verb. It means to talk in more detail. To explain with a lot of detail is to elaborate. It's most commonly used as a question. Example, could you elaborate on that? Could you tell me more details about that? Example, could you elaborate on your plan to develop the project? Example, he needs to elaborate on his plan to develop the project. Let's practice. Does he need to elaborate on his plan to develop the project? Very good. That's right. He needs to elaborate on his plan to develop the project. He needs to talk more about it, to explain in more detail. Remember, when you say elaborate, the connector is on. Elaborate on that. Could you elaborate on that? We don't say elaborate about. We say on. Could you elaborate on that? If I use this word as an adjective, the pronunciation changes. If it's not a verb, it's elaborate. Making a short sound. Elaborate describes something made with great detail, with a lot of detail. Example, this is an elaborate design. Elaborate is an adjective describing the design. So the pronunciation, elaborate. This is an elaborate design. It's a design with a lot of detail. Let's practice. Is she wearing an elaborate dress? That's right, she's wearing an elaborate dress. Does the dress have an elaborate design? That's right, the dress has an elaborate design. We can use elaborate to describe plans or preparations, many things. Example, Napoleon. Napoleon had an elaborate plan to conquer Europe. Let's practice. Did Napoleon have an elaborate plan to conquer Europe? That's right. Napoleon had an elaborate plan to conquer Europe. Example, some people like to put up elaborate decorations for Christmas. Let's practice. Did they put up elaborate decorations for Christmas? That's right. They put up elaborate decorations for Christmas. So remember, when you see this word, look closer. Sometimes it's pronounced elaborate, like a verb, and sometimes it's pronounced elaborate for an adjective. Thank you for watching, and if you like this video, click the link in the description and keep on watching. Words that end with ate sometimes are pronounced ate and sometimes pronounced it. If it's a verb, it's pronounced ate. Example, separate. If it's not a verb, an adjective, for example, it's pronounced it, separate. We're going to practice some words that are not verbs, so they're all pronounced with the short it sound at the end. Let's take a look. We're going to practice words like passionate, compassionate, affectionate, template, pomegranate, appropriate, and inappropriate. Let's get started. Our first example is passionate. Passionate. The stress is on the first syllable, passionate. And the next two syllables are pronounced the same, passionate. Passionate means you're full of energy, full of emotion, especially for a romantic relationship. They are very passionate. They have a passionate relationship. Our next word is compassionate. We put the stress on the second syllable, compassionate. Compassionate means you feel sorry for other people. When someone is in pain, you feel bad for them. If they need money, you feel sorry and you give them money. Compassionate, you have feelings for others. And with compassionate, we use the connector towards. So he is compassionate towards others. He gives the homeless person money, so he is compassionate toward others. Our next word is affectionate. Affectionate is a description. It describes a person or a dog that shows their emotion. They show their love. The dog is showing the boy that the dog loves him. So the dog is affectionate. He is showing his love. The dog is very affectionate. Our next word is template. Now this word is pronounced template in America, but in England they say template. But we're teaching American English, so we pronounce it with the sound, template. And it follows the rule that if it's not a verb, it's not pronounced a. It's pronounced template. So there are many templates to choose from. It's a format to fill out a form, usually on the computer. So they have many templates to choose from. Which template are you going to use? Our next one is a fruit, and the pronunciation is pomegranate. Pomegranate. Stress is on the first, pomegranate, and third syllable. Pomegranate. Pomegranate. It's a fruit. I love pomegranate in my salad. Our next word is appropriate. This word is difficult to pronounce because you have the per sound 2 times. Appropriate. So practice this one slowly. Appropriate. 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 It is appropriate. It is good for all viewers. Nothing offensive. Nothing that would offend anybody is appropriate. Appropriate clothes, appropriate music, appropriate movies. So Disney movies are usually appropriate for all ages. Our next word is inappropriate. Inappropriate. Stress is on the inappropriate, the first and third syllable. Inappropriate. Inappropriate. Inappropriate is not appropriate. I think zombie movies are inappropriate for children. This movie is inappropriate for children. So remember these words and how they're all pronounced with the sound at the end. Passionate, compassionate, affectionate, template, pomegranate, appropriate, and inappropriate. Let's practice passionate. Are they very passionate?
Yes, they're very passionate.
Are they in a passionate relationship?
Yeah, they're in a passionate relationship.
Are they very passionate? Are they in a passionate relationship? That's right, they're in a passionate relationship. Let's practice compassionate. Is he compassionate toward others?
Yes, he's compassionate towards others.
Is it important to be compassionate toward others?
Yes, it's very important to be compassionate towards others.
Is he compassionate toward others? That's right, he is compassionate toward others. Is it important to be compassionate toward others? That's right. It is important to be compassionate toward others. Very good. Let's practice affectionate. Is his dog very affectionate?
Yes, his dog is very affectionate.
Is his dog very affectionate? That's right. His dog is very affectionate. Let's practice template. Are there many templates to choose from?
Yeah, there are a lot of templates to choose from.
Are there a lot of templates to choose from? That's right. There are a lot of templates to choose from. Do you know which template you're going to choose?
No, I'm not sure what template I'm going to choose.
Does she know what template she's going to choose? That's right. She's not sure which template she's going to choose. Let's practice pomegranate. Do you like pomegranates?
Yeah, I like pomegranates.
How do you eat pomegranates?
I like them in salads.
Does she like pomegranates? How does she like to eat pomegranates? That's right. She likes to eat pomegranates in salads. Very good. Let's practice appropriate. Are Disney movies appropriate for all ages?
Yes, Disney movies are appropriate for all ages.
So this cartoon is appropriate for children?
Yes, it's appropriate for children.
Are Disney movies appropriate for all ages? That's right. Disney movies are appropriate for all ages. Is this cartoon appropriate for children? That's right. This cartoon is appropriate for children. Let's practice inappropriate. Do you think zombie movies are inappropriate for children?
Yes, I think they're very inappropriate for children.
Do you think zombie movies are inappropriate for children? Very good. Zombie movies are inappropriate for children. So do you think this movie is inappropriate for your children?
Yes, I think this movie is very inappropriate for my children.
Do you think this movie is inappropriate for your children? And do you think this movie is inappropriate for her children? That's right. This movie is inappropriate for her children. Very good. We saw in a previous video the pronunciation of these words, or they can be pronounced like a if they're a verb, like separate is a verb. But if it's not a verb, we pronounce it separate. Today we're going to practice with these important words that end with ate but are never verbs, so they're always pronounced with the it, short et sound. Like private, certificate, chocolate, corporate, and immediate. Let's take a closer look at the pronunciation. Our first word is private. Only for some people, not for everybody. It's private. We don't say private, we pronounce it private. Let's take a closer look at the pronunciation. Private. P. Per. I. Pry. V. Prive. Prive. T. Private. Private. Use a stop T, not private. 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 He has a private jet. So this is not a commercial flight. This is not a commercial plane. It's a private plane. It's a private jet. One person owns the airplane, so it's a private jet. Let's practice. Do you have a private jet?
No, I don't have a private jet.
Does he have a private jet?
Yes, he has a private jet.
Does she have a private jet? Does he have a private jet? Very good. Our next word is certificate. We don't say certificate, we say certificate, making the short et sound because it's not a verb. Certificate. He got a certificate. He received a certificate of completion. Let's look at the pronunciation. Certificate. s, sir, cert, certif, certif, certifa, certifa, certific, certific, certifica, certifica, certificate, 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 not certificate, but certificate, certificate, certificate. 4 syllables, stress the second syllable. Certificate, 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 certificate. He got a certificate of completion. Example, he got a certificate. He received a certificate of completion after finishing the class. Let's practice. Did you finish the class?
Yes, I finished the class.
Did you get a certificate of completion?
Yes, I got a certificate of completion.
Did she finish the class? Did she get a certificate of completion? Very good. Example, chocolate. That's right, we don't say chocolate because it's not a verb. It's always with the short et. Chocolate. Let's take a look at the pronunciation. Chocolate. Ch. Aw, chaw. K, chalk. L, chocolate. 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 T, chocolate. Chocolate. Stop T. Chocolate. Chocolate. Remember, 2 syllables. Chocolate. Not chocolate, not 3, 2. Chocolate. Stress is on the first syllable. Chocolate. Chocolate. It's not good to eat a lot of chocolate. It has too much sugar. I eat chocolate sometimes, not every day. Let's practice. Do you eat chocolate every day?
No, I don't eat chocolate every day.
Why not?
Because it has a lot of sugar.
Does she eat chocolate every day? Why not? Do you eat chocolate every day? Very good. Example, corporate. That's right, it's not corporate because it's not a verb. It's never a verb. It's always pronounced with the short it sound. Corporate. Let's take a look at the pronunciation. Corporate. K. Or, core. P. Corp. Corp. Corpor. Corpor. Corpora. Corpora. T. Corporate. Stop T. Corporate. 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 2 syllables, not 3. Not corporate, 2. Corporate. Corporate. Stress on the first syllable. Corporate. Corporate. He works in the corporate office. These are the corporate offices. The offices for the corporation. Adjective, corporate. This is the corporate office. Let's practice. Is the corporate office in this city?
Yes, the corporate office is in this city.
Is the corporate office in this city? Very good. Example, immediate. That's right, it's not a verb, so it's always pronounced with the short it. Immediate. Immediate. Let's look at the pronunciation. Immediate. Im. E. Imme. Imme. D. Immede. E. Immedi. Immedi. Immedia. Immedia. T. Immediate. Stop T. Immediate. Not immediate, but immediate. Link these sounds. Immediate. Yeah. Link those sounds. Immediate. Yeah. Immediate. Immediate. 4 syllables. Stress on the second syllable. Immediate. 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 He needs immediate medical attention. Example. He was in a car accident and he's injured. He needs immediate medical attention. He needs immediate medical attention right now. Let's practice. Is he injured?
Yes, he's injured.
Does he need immediate medical attention?
Yes, he needs immediate medical attention.
Is he injured? Does he need immediate medical attention? Very good. Or I can say immediately. Same pronunciation, the short et. Immediately. Immediately. Now the li changes to describe an action, to describe a verb. So this is an adverb. Immediately. Let's look at the pronunciation. Immediately. I. Imme. D. Immede. E. Immedi. Immediate. Immediate. Stop T. Immediate. Immediate. Immediately. Immediately. 5 syllables. Immediately. Stress on the second syllable. Immediately. 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 He went to the hospital immediately after the accident. Example. He went to the hospital. He went to the hospital immediately after the accident. Immediately. Let's practice. Did he go to the hospital immediately after the accident?
Yes, he went to the hospital immediately after the accident.
Did he go to the hospital immediately after the accident? Very good. Today we're practicing the pronunciation of some important words. The pronunciation is it, not ate, because they're not verbs. Examples: desperate, consulate, immaculate, illiterate, considerate, and inconsiderate. Let's take a closer look. Desperate. Desperate is an adjective. It's a description. Example: he has no money. He needs money very badly. So he is desperate for money. Desperate. Let's look at the pronunciation. Pronunciation for desperate. D. E. De. S. Des. P. Desp. R. Despre. Despre. T. Desperate. 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 2 syllables. The stress is on the first syllable. Desperate. Not 3 syllables, desperate, but 2 syllables. Desperate. And the T at the end is a stop T. Desperate. Not desperate, but desperate. Desperate. He is desperate for money. Desperate. Let's practice. Is he desperate for money? That's right. He's desperate for money. Next word is consulate. A consulate is a building. It's a government office. It's similar to an embassy. Consulate. He needs to go to the consulate to do his paperwork. He needs to go to the consulate to do his paperwork. Let's look at the pronunciation. Pronunciation: consulate. K. A. Ka. N. Con. S. Cons. Cons. O. Console. Consul. T. Consulate. 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 3 syllables. The stress is on the first syllable. Consulate. Consulate. Also finish with a stop T. Consulate. Not consulate, but stop T, consulate. Consulate. He's going to the consulate to do his paperwork. Consulate. Let's practice. Does he need to go to the consulate to do his paperwork? That's right. He needs to go to the consulate to do his paperwork. Next word, immaculate. Immaculate. Very, very clean. Not touched by anybody. Extremely clean. The room looks immaculate. It's completely clean. Let's look at the pronunciation. Pronunciation, immaculate. I, im, a, imma, k, immac, y, immaculate, 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 o, immaculate, 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 immaculate. Again, finish with the stop T, immaculate, immaculate. 4 syllables. The stress is on the second syllable. Immaculate. Mac. Stress is on Mac. Immaculate. Immaculate. Completely clean. Immaculate. The room looks immaculate. Immaculate. Let's practice. How does the room look? Does the room look immaculate? That's right. The room looks immaculate. Illiterate. Illiterate is an adjective. It's a description. It's describing a person who cannot read. If somebody cannot read, the person is illiterate. Let's look at the pronunciation. Pronunciation, illiterate. I, ill, I, illi, d, illid, illid. That's right, the T is pronounced with a D between vowels. Pronounce D, illid. Illiter, 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 illiterate, illiterate, illiterate. Stop T at the end. Illiterate, illiterate, illiterate. 4 syllables. Stress on the second syllable. Illiterate. Stress on lid. Illiterate. Illiterate. He cannot read. He is illiterate. Illiterate. Let's practice. He cannot read. Is he illiterate? That's right. He is illiterate. Next we have considerate. Considerate is an adjective, a description. It describes a person who thinks about other people. If you think about other people and what they feel, then you are considerate. He uses his cell phone in the movie theater, so he does not think about other people and how they feel. He is not considerate. He is not considerate. Let's look at the pronunciation. Pronunciation, considerate. K, k, con, s, cons, I, consid, d, consid, consider, 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 considerate, 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 considerate. 4 syllables. The stress is on the second syllable. Considerate, considerate, considerate. He thinks about other people. He thinks about other people's feelings. He is very considerate. Let's practice. Is he considerate of others? That's right. He is not considerate of others. So, if he is not considerate, he is inconsiderate. He is using his cell phone in the movie theater. He is inconsiderate. He's very inconsiderate. Pronunciation? Inconsiderate. I. In. K. Ink. Inca. Incon. Incons. Inconsid. Inconsid. Inconsider. 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 Inconsiderate. 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 With a stop T, inconsiderate. 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 5 syllables. Inconsiderate. Stress on the first syllable and third syllable. Inconsiderate. Inconsiderate. He is not thinking about other people. He is very inconsiderate. Inconsiderate. Let's practice. He's using his cell phone in the movie theater. Is he inconsiderate? That's right. He's very inconsiderate. So remember these important words. They are not verbs, so they are not pronounced ate, but they are pronounced it. Remember, desperate, consulate, immaculate, illiterate, considerate, and inconsiderate. We're going to continue looking at the pronunciation of ate at the end of a word. If it's a verb, we pronounce it ate, like separate. But if it's not a verb, we pronounce it, like separate. The words we're looking at today are not verbs, so they're all pronounced with the et sound. Words like intermediate, adequate, legitimate, accurate, and approximate. Our first example is intermediate. We notice that the T is silent. We don't say intermediate, we say intermediate. And the AT at the end is pronounced et. There's no ate sound, it's short et, intermediate. And it's a stop T. Not intermediate, but intermediate. Intermediate, in the middle. Not a beginner, and not advanced. Intermediate level. Most of my students are in the intermediate level. They're intermediate students. Next example is adequate. Not great, but enough. The lunches at the school, they're not great, but they're enough. They're just adequate. They're not extra special. Our next word is legitimate. We notice that the T is pronounced with a fast D sound. Not legitimate, but legitimate. And a stop T at the end. Legitimate. Legitimate means accepted by the law. If it is accepted by the law, it is legitimate. Selling watches on the street is not a legitimate business. Our next word is accurate. Accurate means precise, exact. When taking a measurement or measuring, you need to be accurate. He is always accurate when he measures. When he takes a measurement, he's very accurate. We use accurately when we describe a verb. We describe a verb with accurately. He is measuring the box. He is accurately measuring the box. Our last word is approximate. Approximate means not exact. Not exact, I'm guessing, approximate. Do you know your weight? I don't know my weight exactly, but I know my approximate weight. The next word is approximately. We use approximately to describe an action. The action take. It takes a long time to get there. Oh really, how long does it take to get there? It takes approximately an hour. Not exactly an hour, more or less an hour. Approximately. It takes approximately 1 hour to get there. So remember, when you see a word with ate at the end, and it's a longer word, it has two different pronunciations. If it's not a verb, it is pronounced et. Our examples today: intermediate, adequate, legitimate, accurate, and approximate. Let's practice. Are most of your students in the intermediate level?
Yes, most of them are in the intermediate level.
Are most of her students in the intermediate level? Very good. Let's practice. Are the school lunches great?
No, not really. They're just adequate.
Are the school lunches great or just adequate? Very good. Let's practice. Is selling things on the street a legitimate business?
No, it's not a legitimate business.
Is selling things on the street a legitimate business? Very good. Let's practice. Is he always accurate when he measures things?
Yes, he is always accurate when he measures things.
Is he always accurate when he measures things? Is it very important to be accurate when you measure things?
Yes, it's very important to be accurate when you measure things.
Is it very important to be accurate when you measure things? Very good. Is he measuring the box accurately?
Yes, he is measuring the box accurately.
Is he measuring the box accurately? Very good. Let's practice. Do you know your exact weight or your approximate weight?
I know my approximate weight. It's about 120.
Do you know your exact weight or your approximate weight? Very good. Let's practice. How long does it take to get there?
It takes approximately an hour to get there.
How long does it take to get there? Very good. Today we're going to practice with the pronunciation of some tricky words, like this one. Is it duplicate or duplicate? Both pronunciations are correct. Let's take a closer look and find out why. With words ending in ate with multiple syllables, you can have two pronunciations. If it's a verb, we pronounce it with a long A. Duplicate. If it's a verb. If it's not a verb, we pronounce it with the short sound duplicate. So duplicate can be an adjective or duplicate can be a noun, but it's not a verb. That's the key. If it's not a verb, pronounce it it. If it is a verb, pronounce it ate. So duplicate is a verb. Example, they tried to duplicate the results of the experiment. They tried to duplicate, verb, duplicate. They tried to duplicate the results of the experiment. Example, he's making duplicate copies of the form. Duplicate is not a verb, so we pronounce it with a short sound, duplicate. He's making duplicate copies of the form. Let's practice. Did they try to duplicate the results of the experiment? That's right, they tried to duplicate the results of the experiment. What is he doing? Is he making duplicate copies of the form? That's right, he's making duplicate copies of the form. We also have many words ending with ate that are multiple syllable that are never verbs, so they're always pronounced with the short sound it. Example, climate. We never say climate, it's always climate, climate. The climate in New York is very different from the climate in California. So, he's not used to the climate in New York. He's not used to the cold. He's still getting used to the climate. Let's practice. Is he still getting used to the cold climate? That's right. He's still getting used to the cold climate. Example, delegate, using the short sound, delegate. Example, I always wash my delicate clothes by hand. What about you? Do you wash your delicate clothes by hand? That's right. I always wash my delicate clothes by hand. Example, candidate. I've heard Americans say candidate, but it doesn't sound right and it doesn't follow the rule, so pronounce it candidate. It sounds better. Example, did they choose the right candidate? Yes, they chose the right candidate. Let's practice. Did they choose the right candidate? That's right. They chose the right candidate. Next we have fortunate. We use the short sound, fortunate, because it's not a verb. Also with this word, we have tu. Tu in the middle of the word is pronounced ch, and not for chu, but for che, fortune, fortunate, fortunate. Similar to lucky. He has a large family. He's fortunate to have a large family. What do you think? Is he fortunate to have a large family? That's right. He's very fortunate to have a large family. Or if I put ly at the end, I have fortunately. Fortunately. Fortunately describes a verb. So, example, they had a car accident. They had a bad car accident, but fortunately no one was injured. Let's practice. Did they have a car accident? Was anyone injured? That's right. Fortunately, no one was injured. And if something is not lucky, it's unfortunate. Example, he lost his wallet. Oh, that's unfortunate. Let's practice. What happened? Did he lose his wallet? What do you think? Is that unfortunate? Very good. And I use ly to describe a verb. Unfortunately. Pronunciation, unfortunately. So what happened? She got paid today. It's Friday. But unfortunately, she lost her wallet. So what happened? Did she get paid today? Does she have the money? That's right. Unfortunately, she lost her wallet. So remember, when you see a word ending with ate and it's a multiple syllable, you have to look closely to know the pronunciation. If it's a verb, pronounce it with the long A, like duplicate. If it's not a verb, pronounce it with the short sound, duplicate. If you like this video, watch another one and tell a friend. We'll see you next time.